Hello, I'm Tatsuyoshi Saijo. For about 10 years now, I've been obsessed with one big idea. It's the driving force behind all my work. And that idea is, how can we create a society that future generations will actually be grateful for? A society where they can look back and say, we were truly good ancestors.
So, that brings us to a really tough question. One we have to ask ourselves, honestly. When you look around at the world today, with all the challenges we're facing, the crises that seem to be speeding up, are we really being good ancestors?
Look, the hard truth is, our modern systems, as powerful as they are actually creating what I call future failures. It's like they're designed in a way that systematically fails to protect the very people who will come after us. So, why is this happening? Let's dig into that.
Let me give you a classic example. The Haber-Bosch process. It's an incredible story, really. Back in the early 20th century, it was a miracle. It solved a huge crisis, the very real threat of global famine, by letting us create synthetic fertilizer. But, and this is a big but, it had a dark side. The same process made it possible to mass-produce explosives, which fueled horrific wars. And on top of that, it's completely thrown our planet's natural cycles out of whack.
And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. Even Carl Bosch himself, one of the creators, basically said, look, you can't stop this train. It perfectly captures our dilemma, right? We invent these amazing things to fix today's problems, but in doing so, we often unleash these long-term consequences that we just can't predict and definitely can't control.
So, what's at the core of this problem? Well, it turns out the very pillars of our society, they're just not built for thinking about the long term. Take markets. They have this thing called discounting, which basically means the future is always worth less than today. Then you've got democracy. Politicians, they have to focus on the voters of today to get reelected. And even science, which is driven by this amazing passion for discovery, can accidentally create brand new problems for tomorrow.
Okay, so seeing all these systemic problems, I started to think, what if we tried a different approach? Instead of trying to fight these huge systems head-on, what if we worked with something we all have, our own human nature? And that's where my idea, which I call future design, comes in. It's all about activating these incredible abilities that I believe we all possess.
So what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, future design is all about intentionally creating a world that our descendants will actually thank us for. It's a real, practical framework for becoming good ancestors.
Now, here's what makes this really different from the way we usually tackle these things. Traditional social science, for the most part, looks at our values, like self-interest, and says, okay, that's a given. Let's build our systems around that reality. Future design is, it's a lot more ambitious. We're not just working with the current settings, we're trying to change the settings. We're trying to transform our way of thinking and tap into that concern for others that we all have, not just for people today, but for people in the future too.
So, I believe we all have these three key abilities for this kind of thinking. Think of them like cognitive muscles. For most of us, they're pretty underused, right? They haven't been to the gym in a while. So future design is basically a workout program designed to strengthen them. Let's break them down.
Okay, the first one, and this is really the heart of it all, is what I call futurability. What is it? It's our ability to feel real joy, real happiness by working for the good of future generations, even when it means we have to give something up today. It's a powerful idea.
Next up is presentationality. This one's about caring for the people who are here with us right now. It's about empathy, it's about fairness, and this is so important because, let's be honest, you can't build a just future if you're standing on an unjust present. It just doesn't work.
And finally, we have pastability. This is exactly what it sounds like, our ability to look to the past, to really study the decisions that were made before us, the good ones and the bad ones, so that we can make much, much smarter choices for the future.
Now, these three abilities aren't separate things. They actually build on each other. And you can see here how we can design processes to activate them in order. We start with the present, then look to the past, and that opens us up to think about the future. It's a sequence that really expands our whole perspective. It's how we grow those muscles. So here's a quick summary of how it all fits together. You see, each ability has a corresponding design. The key one here is futurability. How do we activate that? Well, the key mechanism is getting people to imagine themselves as future generations. For pastability, we use historical evaluation. And what's really interesting is that presentability, our empathy for people today, often gets a huge boost as a kind of positive side effect of working on the other two. Okay, I know this might all sound a bit abstract,
But this is where it gets really exciting, because this has been put into practice with some pretty amazing results. Let's take a look at a real-world case study, the town of Yahaba, that's pronounced Yahaba, in Japan.
So back in 2015, we went to Yahaba and asked residents to do something pretty simple: create a vision for their town for the year 2060. We split them into two groups. Group 1, they just discussed the future from their regular, everyday point of view. But Group 2, we asked them to do something different. We asked them to become imaginary future generations, to actually think, speak, and make decisions as if they were living in 2060.
And what happened? Well, the present-day group was predictable. They were completely stuck in today's problems. Their big ideas were things like, we need to make sure we have enough nursing homes. Very practical, for sure, but totally limited. It was basically business as usual.
But the other group, the ones imagining they were from 2060, wow, it was like a switch flipped. Suddenly they were free from all the baggage of the present. They came up with these incredible, bold, legacy-building ideas. Like, they proposed transforming a local mountain into this beautiful nature park dedicated to a local hero. I mean, something with real, lasting value for generations. The difference in vision was just so striking, so profound, that the town itself was blown away. They didn't just say that was interesting, they officially adopted the whole practice. They started using future design to make really tough decisions, like raising water rates to pay for long-term infrastructure. They even created a whole new department in their government called the Future Strategy Department. This became real.
So what we saw in Yahaba and what we've seen in other places since, it proves that this is so much more than just some academic thought experiment. It really feels like the beginning of a whole new way of thinking.
This is what I like to call a quiet revolution. Because it's not about being loud or protesting in the streets. It's a deep internal shift. It's a transformation that happens inside of us when we make a conscious choice to fire up our futurability, our presentability, and our pastability. It's really about changing how we think, which, of course, is the only way to truly change what we do.
The truth is, we all have these abilities. They're already inside us. We all have the power to think beyond just today, beyond just ourselves. So really, the only question that matters, the one left for each and every one of us, is this: what kind of ancestor are you going to choose to be?